Hello and welcome to Total Warhammer 3's 1.1 update. Um, I know I haven't been doing a lot of stuff about Total Warhammer, but that's because the game has been actually not that fun. And hopefully with this update, they're gonna make it better. I will be planning on streaming the game this afternoon after this video comes out on Twitch, so you can go over and catch me there. Alright, let's take a look at this. This is an H release, blah 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 blah. Let's look at the actual updates. Game, stability, performance, fix alt tabbing to another window. Hopefully that actually is a thing. I know my friend, when we play, he alt tabs a lot. So hopefully that actually works. Fix a trigger after losing a caravan, start saving the next churn, and then reloading the file. That's a weird crash. That's really a weird crash. Crash triggered when selecting a hero within an army while moving that army to merge with another. That's a very specific crash, okay. Fix a crash that could occur when in multiplayer campaign to allow simultaneously churns a player exiting the match during another team's turn. Wait, what? That makes 0 sense. In the multiplayer campaign set to allow simultaneous turns, a player exit the match during another team's turn. I don't see a problem there. I honestly don't see how that would happen because it's always another person's turn. Because it's simultaneous turns. I don't understand. It's both your turn and another person's turn. I don't know what they're meaning here. Just that someone crashes out during the thing and causes the other person to crash also. Because I know they were supposed to have a thing where an AI would take over. I don't know. Fix a crash triggered when players queued movement commands initiated a siege battle after ending the turn. Okay, these seems like this crash fixes that are like very hyper specific. Except for this one, attacking a sieging army. Okay. That seems weird. Performance hit when viewing Steam visual effects during a custom battle. Stuttering when vassalizing Legion of Chaos. Implement several optimization to distance and overdraw in game. Okay, whatever. More graphics. Some Tzinch's stuff, which doesn't freaking matter, honestly. I literally don't care. Update the audio, UI. Add a missing icon for the effect in the Wood Elf building tree. Why would that matter? We're not Wood Elves. We're not Wood Elves. How would anyone find that out? You can't play Wood Elves. What the fuck is this? I don't understand. Category icon for Herald Slanesh Shadow. Okay. Whatever. I still don't understand this Wood Elf building tree because we can't build as Wood Elves. We can't play as Wood Elves. So how would that be a thing? I don't know. Change how corrupted traits work in Total Warhammer 3. Corrupted traits are now removed as the corrupted character spends time in the province with lower levels of that particular type of corruption. This is indifferent to any other types of corruption in that province. Wow, that should have been in already. Other changes to gameplay mechanics. Fix an issue with Everlasting Gift and Gift Slanesh stat to apply the correct bonuses. I can understand this being delayed, but this should have been fixed pretty early. But I understand why it's been delayed until now, because you're dealing with what is Everlasting Gif is calling and Gif Slanesh is calling, and how they interact with each other with the other stuff. And like, you could have gotten one or the other and you've been fine. It was when they got together, and then it was a problem. So I can understand with coding, like, that could be an actual problem. And also, it's new code, so something could have gone wrong. Supply values are now updated properly with the disbanding lords. This should have been done a lot sooner. Like, honestly, this code, we had this problem until Warhammer 2. This was a problem until Warhammer 2. And this wasn't even at the beginning of Warhammer 2. This was like halfway. This was like a single update they did, and then we started having this problem until Warhammer 2. So this should have been fixed a lot sooner. Because it should have been I bet you it was the same problem, probably. And they won't say it, but it was probably the same problem, and this could have gotten fixed a lot earlier and didn't need to be here. Fix an issue where units docked in dockable areas would not adjust their firing arc, so they could continue firing at enemy units. Cool. Again, this was a problem since even before when streamers were playing the game. I don't know whether or not docked units would be good. We'll see. Maybe they'd be too powerful and then they'll freaking have to nerf them. Fix the issue where handing off control of a second army joining a battle to the AI would prevent them from joining and prevent the battle from concluding. Okay, that's hyper specific. That's very specific. But cool. Fix an issue where heroes will no longer gain skill points after progressing past rank 40. You're telling me that was a fucking bug? Wait. Oh my gosh. Okay, CA, you need to understand something right now. This wasn't a problem. You allowing heroes to have 59 skill point, or I should say 49 skill points, you need to change their fucking entire trees. You need to exasperate their trees, because honestly, most heroes don't have enough things to put points in. Like, from now on, if I do a video, it'll be like, here's how to level up a hero. Guess what? Just grab everything. Grab everything. Actually, grab the freaking... If they have a master tree, grab the master tree. Other than that, just grab everything, because you're eventually going to get it. Pick what you want. Like, heroes have way too many skill points. So, legitimately, them stopping at 40 wasn't a problem. The problem is that lords have way too many skills to pick from, and not enough skill points. Heroes, on the other hand, don't have that problem. They have way too many skill points for their skill tree. Honestly, this feels like it's an issue, and that could have been fixed way earlier, too. Fix the issue where Fire Moth settlement would provide an option to construct major settlement buildings rather than minor settlement buildings. Okay, that's just a specific settlement. Fix a bug where unit stationed at an ogre camp located in hostile territory could not replenish their army. Okay, I can see how that would have been delayed until now. Like, anything that has to do with like the new stuff, not a problem with them fixing it and being in this big patch. But some things like the supply lines, which we already had an issue of in Warhammer 2, no. Should not be there. Okay, let's continue on. Remove several obstructions to line of sight around tower construction points on the Griswold Empire. Oh, that's not just a problem there. That is a problem in a lot of settlements. There's a lot of settlements that have a problem where the towers, line of sight, have way too many obstructions. Like, who placed them where they are? There's the walled settlements or the wall for Cathay. And that's a problem. I'm going to be playing Cathay, by the way. I'm planning on playing Cathay. With this new changes, I'm interested to see how it goes. Implement fixes for several deployment and Vanguard deployment zones and several maps. Okay, how... I don't understand how that is a problem too that needed to be in this patch. Like, it could have been before. Because those shouldn't have been a problem. Those shouldn't have been a problem at all. I don't understand that. I never use Vanguard deployment, usually, because it's never came up. So, because why would you Vanguard deploy into more enemies? I don't know. Well, there's nothing I have that can Vanguard deploy that I would want Vanguard deploy, is the thing. Alright. Fix the issue when you're losing a caravan will result in an active recruit caravan button for the following turn. Okay. I never ran into that because my caravans all lived. Fix an issue with auto-resolve where attacking an enemy army in a settlement resulted in a better outcomes than when an enemy army attacked the player. So auto-resolve is still bullshit. Good to know. Good to know. Good to know that you took a thing where players were better off auto-resolving in some situations, just made it worse. Cool. If you don't know, auto-resolve is terrible at higher difficulties. Like, absolutely terrible. Fix the issue with hero buffs and recruitment buildings would fail to properly apply their bonuses. That is a good fix. Can someone understand why it would be in this patch, but also why weren't we notified? I don't think people realized that until recently. Fix the issue where infinite winds of magic could be generated due to rounding error, which reserves and recharge rights. Okay, I'm upset. I am actually upset CA fixed this, the infinite winds of magic thing, which was that you get 3 seconds to get 1 winds of magic or below, and you had items that would regenerate your mana, which was like 0.1. And with 0.1, you will get 1 winds of magic instantly. And then you just, if you had it at 1 second, so every 1 second, you will get winds of magic. They fixed that, and I have a problem with that. Why? Because this is bullshit. We already deal with a lot of bullshit, and the winds of magic, how they have it limited, is really annoying. They need to give us more winds of magic. Why? Because a lot of these spells are really expensive. Look at Nurgle's stuff. Like, some of it's alright, and is too expensive. The heal is pretty good, but it's pretty expensive. Like, a lot of spells are really expensive for what they do. That's why Tzeentch magic is so good, because it deals a lot of damage. It's pretty fucking cheap. You use the spell that uses 4 winds of magic, which is the Tzeentch breath attack spell, and you just are, I'm pretty sure it's called Tzeentch Blue Flame, but basically you just get free damage, and it deals a lot of damage, and you can lower that cost even more. And like, everyone else's spells are freaking expensive as shit. I think they need to readjust some of these spells, and yeah, I don't agree with the winds of magic bullshit. It's we need like 200. There's already, I was playing some Tzeentch, and oh my gosh, it's just super easy to get winds of magic, like, increasing. Most of the time I played, I've always got decreasing. So I just got very unlucky, yeah, but I barely have magic. And I find it ridiculous that this is alright. I mean, if I really notice a problem with the regular winds of magic at 100? No, not really, but getting more winds of magic, the infinite winds of magic, feels good for the players. Them taking it away now kind of makes me upset. When they They are literally giving us a fucking entire list of changes that they're doing to everything. It feels like they are overextending changes, and they're gonna run into more problems. Because remember what they said, everyone? If you don't remember, they had a thing where they said, basically, hey, we have sorry, I'm just thinking, my mind's going blank. They had a problem where they showed that, hey, we are trying to make changes, and it's like removing this red stick without disturbing all the other sticks. It's like, really? You're changing all of this? That's not changing a bunch of sticks. Like, you're going against what you said is the problem. And I don't agree with it. Because all these changes, there's gonna be probably more stuff broken, honestly. They're doing way too many changes. And this issue, I've been fine to keeping it. Like, they should not have done something about this issue. This issue could have came out later. This issue could have come out later. This issue could have came out later. The dockable thing. Fix an issue, handing off control. Could have came back later, because honestly, people shouldn't probably be doing that. But anyways, let's continue on. Fix issues with Belcor's skill tree was just altered, and certain skills unlocking the incorrect abilities. What? How? How? That should not be in this. This should have been earlier. Oh my gosh, some of these things should have been way earlier. Let me just pull up this. Yeah, you get to see my names, but like, let's just look at some of the stuff. Yeah, here's what I was talking about earlier. Diagram, retrieve the red stick without disturbing the others. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you doing all of these changes does not make you saying this make any sense. This makes you sound dumb. Honestly, because I understand coding. Yes, it's sort of like this. But I also know, and most of the time, how coding works in video games is that you're given only like a block. You are given blocks, and then the end product is blocks put together. It's not like your block calls on another block, which does another thing, and blah blah blah. Is mostly how they do it. Unless they have one person coding the entire thing, which sounds ridiculous. But that's how you work with teams. So this doesn't make much sense, because this red line interacts with everything. Interacts with a lot of these things, as it shows here. But the thing is like, it shouldn't matter unless you miss apostrophes or miss other things in the thing. It's that will cause it to negate the next line or the lines thereafter. But like, a lot of these changes that they've put out, they've only done 2 changes. They've done 0.1 and 0.2, and 0.1 they barely changed anything, and 0.2 they barely changed anything. They've only changed like look, this is all their changes. 0.2 includes performance improvements. Unfortunately, the They tell us that Alt-Tab goes to Steam Beta. We're implementing the first of several improvements of Steam patching process in this build, blah blah blah. Basically, nothing of note. Not like what we have here. Nothing. This is my problem with them, like, throwing all this and complaining that, hey guys, understand, we have this. We try to do this. And it's like, you're fucking lying. You're lying. If you're throwing all these changes out and then you say like, oh guys, it's like this, and you're lying. And I can tell you for a fact they're lying, because this supply lines value shouldn't even freaking happen. Shouldn't even fucking happen, because we've already had it happen. There's no way in your form of code that you would have the same problem and not already have the answer for it. It is that easy. Fix the issue with battle speed would be switched to slow motion without any input during replays. Okay, that's a weird function. Why is that an issue in this game? Why is that even a theme? I don't understand. Like, that is another thing. Wow, that's another thing, like supply lines. That shouldn't be in this patch. That should have been already fixed. Because this game is supposed to be built on Total Warhammer 2. This game should be built on Total Warhammer 2. This is the game we've had before. This game feels like it's been this game. And we've had Total Warhammer 1, Total Warhammer 3, and then Total Warhammer 2, is how it feels. It doesn't feel like it's where we have Total Warhammer 3. Alright, let's just continue. Campaign Prologue. Fix issues we're stuck after Battle for Fort Devgard. Players should no longer be unable to ask progress when ending turn immediately after losing Yuri. Yuri no longer hop in place following a Scream of Chasm trigger. You know, I actually experienced this hop in place thing, which I consider a new bug. It was with ambush battles in campaign with my friend. Like, ambush battles had, like, it was always ambush battles that and it was ogres when I was playing Zinch, and the ogres would be bouncing in place going, So I'm expecting that to probably be fixed sometime. Players should no longer have progression blocked by accidentally deselecting the settlement before completing the Lord Recruitment Guide. Players should no longer have the progression blocked by selecting a settlement during the Demon Encounter Guide. Fix an issue would prevent players from progressing, blah blah blah. I'm just gonna... Basically, sounds like they have... If you didn't follow the exact things and skip stuff, you would have not been able to progress. Which is what I did. I had a problem with the wolf. But then I reload my save and then did it again, and then it was no problem. Realms of Chaos. Numerous changes. Reduce the effects of negative traits afflicted upon the Realms of Chaos by 50%. Should have happened already, and didn't need to be in this update. Because it's literally cutting down numbers by half. You go into code, you instead of a 6, you delete it and then you place a 3. Wow, big change. Makes it super hard to do, guys. I'm sorry, guys. It's super hard to do. It's just like this. Changing freaking 6 to a 3. You gotta remove that stick without disrupting the others, guys. It's literally not changing a single value, making no difference to anything else. Because it's due to traits. Which it calls on the trait that says corruption -3 or -6. Instead, make it -3 or give +3 or whatever. It's literally not that different. I took coding. I know how it works. You're literally changing a value, a single value. It doesn't change anything else. I know that for a fact. It's literally changing a 6 to a 3 or a 20 to a 10. It's not you installing a new line of code that says minus 50% for that thing. No. So that should have been already in place. Daemon Legendary Lords will no longer be afflicted with the negative traits within the realm of their respective chaos gods, which should have already happened. Should have already been a thing. I don't know why there was such an oversight on that. Negative traits inflicted by the realms of chaos will now be removed when the Legendary Lord completes the survival battle within the realm. Should have already been a thing. Upon intercepting an AI faction at the Forge of Souls, the Legendary Lord will now lose all of their souls rather than being wounded for 15 turns. This will force them to collect the souls over again. Thank you. That is an actual change which I will accept to be in this patch. This big ol' patch. This makes sense. They thought it was a good idea initially and then realized it was a bad idea. That's fine. I'm alright with that. The protection chain building can now be constructed to prevent rifts spamming in the province which they are built. So this, I'm half and half on, being, I agree with this being a change, but when has it been a change? In this patch? Okay, that's where I'm half and half on. Or should have this been earlier, because this was a problem in the pre-builds, and it's literally adding one code to a protection chain building. But then again, it prevents the rifts, which might fuck things up otherwise. So, honestly, I say, yeah, no. I'm fine with that being in here. That's a big change. Big enough change to be in a big patch. So, I'm actually fine with that being here. It's just the funny thing is that there was a thing that you unpack Total Warhammer 3 to mod it so that you would cause no portals, prevent rifts from ever opening, or prevent rifts from opening again. And literally you change one value and it doesn't cause the entire game to crash. It's not this. Me and my friend did it, and we played together, and it was fine. Literally, it does not cause the entire thing to crumble down. You literally change one value, and then you fix the problem with rifts. Rifts no longer a problem. Again, CA, I know what you're talking about, but at the same time, you're wrong. The thing is, like, changing something, like, if you're installing a new piece of code, a new line of code, that could fuck things up, yes. With this protection chain that has to interact with rifts and prevent them from spawning again, which then means another section of code needs to be installed to make sure that rifts don't spawn there. It's not just a line that gives you, that's not like a line that just says gives you 100% after where is it? It says that completing survival battle at the end of the survival battle, plus 100% to removing negative trait, making it so that if they have negative trait, remove. Makes sense. Doesn't that make sense to everyone? So, if have corruption of Slanesh, and then all the upgraded versions. If so, remove traits. Makes sense. It's just literally copying another code of something else and maybe adding or calling the removal trait thing for that trait and just adding like 50% on top of it or 100% on top of it. So that'd be like 100% or 150%, meaning it will just remove it. Makes sense. I'm just thinking of the simple way of doing that. Completing a survival battle will now also provide winning action the following benefits for 10 turns. So I didn't know this until I was watching a little bit of Legend's stream. He mentioned that these are rewards for just hitting being able to do a right in the Vortex campaign in Total Warhammer 2. So these are just straight up all just benefits you get in the Vortex campaign that's just repeated in this. Meaning 5 of the winning factions corruption across all provinces, 8 control all provinces, 15 growth all provinces, and 10% income all provinces. This is garbage for 10 turns, honestly. Because what happens after that 8 control is gone? What would happen? Does your empire instantly fall into disrepair and you just, because you're getting false hope? I would rather us not get this. I would be fine with the income and maybe some other stuff, but not this. Not all this. This is just puts you in a false sense of security. Additional adjustments made for the following realms. Tzeentch Realm. Options offered during dilemmas trigger at points of entrance will now provide replenishment. Wait, you mean they didn't provide replenishment? That's stupid. Okay. Tzeentch Realm Boom of Tzeentch from Tzeentch. This option offered by the dilemma now properly displays its rewards when it appears. So nothing changed. Except for we get replenishment at points of interest. Nothing changed. Because you could say this is a change, but it's actually not. It's just that they now display the text properly. Which means it still did what it did. It just now tells you actually what it does. This is a non-fix. Honestly, this is their basically telling us the wrong thing, which already CA does with a lot of units. A lot of units have the text line of say anti-infantry, but they have no anti-infantry in their kit. If you don't know what that means that they don't get bonus to melee attack and melee defense against infantry, so no, it's damage and melee attack might be against infantry. So yeah, no, I don't see a point to that. I don't see a point to this. Like, this stupid boon from Tzeentch. Also, it doesn't fix Tzeentch's realm being a bad, like, the realm being bad, just bad. Nurgle Realm. Attrition resistance effects granted by points of interest now last 20 turns instead of the duration spent in the realm. This means that the boon can also be carried back to the mortal world. Literally don't give a fuck. Nurgle Realm. Flying units can no longer be deployed atop a Nurgle Island environment prop. Okay. Was there a problem with that? The flying units being deployed there? Or the AI was doing it? Or what's the deal with this? Because this seems like a non-issue. Like, both of these seem like a non-issue. Players can no longer replace the legendary lord of an army with a regular lord when at the Fortress Souls. I guess that makes sense because they are removing where you have to recollect the souls if you lose at the Fortress Souls. So, I guess. Fix a rare issue which you would result in the Fortress Souls rift being closed despite having access to the final battle. That's an issue. And it's also rare. Okay, Be'lakor. Let's get into Be'lakor. This is gonna be a long video. Be'lakor. So provide the following permanent benefits: +3 hero capacity for all heroes. Okay. 14 hero and lord recruit link. Okay. 5 wins of magic return for all armies, 7 control across all provinces, 25 growth, and +15 income all provinces. So, as I understand, also watching Legends video, this is apparently the reward for winning the Vortex campaign. And I have to ask everyone, how many of you play after beating the Vortex campaign? Because after the Vortex campaign, I don't continue playing. Hell, I barely played the Vortex campaign for the Vortex campaign part. I preferred the other factions that had different things to do. So, like this, I didn't even know this was a thing, so I didn't give a shit. I didn't even know this was a thing after you hit a marker. Both of these are useless. Like, cool, I get Bellacore and he gives me all this stuff, but that doesn't make him any better. When additional change has been explored, Bellacore now has a starting trait that grants access to his unique ability Shadow Shroud rather than it be granted by default. What? I don't understand. So instead of it... This makes zero sense. This is what I'm talking about. Like, some of these things don't make sense because it sounds like you got Shadow Shroud already as Bellacore, but now they just made it a trait instead of it maybe being the skill tree already granted or just given to you off the bat. It sounds like nothing's changed there. This is a useless point. An additional fix for the campaign. Like, this could have been in a different thing. Fix an issue where completing the campaign and clicking continue to records would replay Bellacore's first voice over line rather than the proper line. Okay, don't give a shit. That seems useless to... whatever. Honestly, if you're clicking continue to records, you're done with the campaign. You're not continuing the campaign. So, what proper line are you supposed to have? Demons of Chaos. We felt the Daemon Priest was underperforming. Fuck off. No, you didn't. Literally, again, changing values of his thing from 25 to 50. Wow. Massive difference. I mean, you would have to playtest all of this to make sure it works right, but this is a lot of changes. I wouldn't be surprised the Daemon Prince becomes super strong after this. To accommodate his higher base stats, we have reduced the effects of his starting gifts available to... Really? Honestly, I feel like this is... No, I'm just gonna say it. Fuck off, CA. This is dumb. I mean, I don't... That Bringer Blade is nice, I guess. 20 more and 15 more, which just makes this higher. These two higher. The melee defense reduction, remove melee attack, remove base weapon damage, 10%. So actually, you are getting 5% less base damage. Or it could be even less. It's probably even less because the way it could be the way it gets calculated. If these are additive, you're getting 5% less. If this is like this 10% acts on base weapon damage, so it would increase it by 20. So it'd be 245, and then this 15 gets calculated, and which will add onto already the 245, so it would be 15% off 245. Added on top of that, then it would be basically considered multiplicative. Which means you could be losing more than 5% than what it seems. Remove 5 melee defense. So we're losing 10 melee defense. I guess, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I guess that's fine. Because we're getting like 25. So losing 10, getting 25 instead? Yeah, I'll take that actually. Charge bonus doesn't fucking matter because demons are fucking notoriously bad at charging. Armor piercing goes up, so this becomes better. So yeah, I guess the beginning stuff, I don't mind actually. But the 15 melee attack, we are losing... we're getting 25. So we're gaining 10. I guess, yeah. And then there's all these the changes to the gifts you get for him. If you care about these, take a look at them. I'm just going to real quick look through them, and basically I'm seeing nothing. Like, honestly, these are nothing. I guess I'll go over the actual offerings. Are these just offerings? Oh, there's the sets. Offering 3 to 10. That's Lord recruitment rank. Agent heroes get 10 more levels, so they start at level 11 instead of level 4. Okay, whatever. Reduce God dedicated specific recruitment time by 2 turns. Okay, I'll take that 8. I'll take that. That's actually pretty good. That's actually useful. Corn offering removed a 10% couch labor replenishment bonus. Really? Why? Why? Instead, you add a 25% buff to campaign movement range after winning a battle. I'll take that. I'll actually take that. That's actually pretty nice. Remove the building cost reduction bonus. Okay, and then add... So you just removed it from Corn and then just gave it to Nurgle, which it should have been in the first place, honestly. And the building reduction, I don't even understand, like, why that's changed. Diplomatic relations with all factions, so that's just still bad, then. Because it's not a benefit to get that at all. Zinch offering, remove the chance of... to increase strength of winds of magic. What? What? That makes 0 sense. Okay, let's just read this. Zinch offering 8. Removes the chance to increase the strength of winds of magic when changing. Instead, we get Zinch offering 8, which increases the chance of to strengthen the winds of magic skill from 10% to 25%. Is the same thing? Isn't that the same thing? I don't understand. That's the same thing. All armies offering 9, dedicated to the god specific goes from 3 to 6. So I'm guessing that is Khorne, Nurgle, / Zinch, not undivided. Gift sets. Equipping the upgraded version of Mortal Blow ability, which is Mortal Blow's actually kind of garbage. Honestly, it's only for like 10-15 seconds. It's not that good, in my opinion. Remove 10% glory bonus. Ooh, that was supposed to be like an N1? That's stupid. 50%. Equips it. No. Scorch. Adorn. So you lower from 4 to 3. Okay, whatever. I don't give a shit. Prince gifts. Okay. Talking about spells. As the Damien Prince only has access to minor spell variants, we've added the Overcast variants to gifts that already provide the base spell. Numerous balance tweaks have been made to the gifts offering dedicated to one. So you're telling me now that if I equip 2, like, final, say, 2 spells that are final transmutation, I will get an Overcast version? Fucking finally, that should have been a thing that from the get-go. Yeah, we gave you the base spells, which cost a fucking metric ton. You can't fucking cast them. Still, I wouldn't probably do that, because he's... with these changes... he's better off to being a melee lord. With the tail or wings that give damage over time while he's in combat. Scythe, left arm. Scythe has an increase of base weapon damage, replace blue fire with Infernal Gateway. They're gonna make it harder. They're gonna make it harder with this freaking change. Adding Overcast variants, they're gonna make it harder because just right here, they replace the blue flame with Infernal Gateway. You're probably gonna get Infernal Gateways easy, but you would want blue fire. Increases. I'm not seeing any reductions so far. Replace Infernal Gateway with Gates of Chaos. Cool. See, they're gonna make it harder. I'm just seeing increases, which of course they did because they have to make them better than the base. Because I think I'm running mostly base stuff, except for like in campaign I'm playing with my friend. I'm using mostly base. I use mostly base stuff until like the very end after I pick my corn specification, and then just place more stuff into corn, like some of the corn stuff because it was actually good. Increase. Cool, Sword of Lure now has Charmed Weapon contact effect. Cool, that actually makes that interesting. Probably be a good thing to grab, or that one. Change, increase. General fixes. Fix an issue where narrative events would continue to trigger after completing the campaign, including rifts reopening in the world. That straight up is a problem that should have been fixed way earlier, instead of in this, but I understand. This is the big gameplay fix, fine. Fix an issue where Boris could not be created as a new faction, does not appear in the Lord's recruitment pool. My friend actually had this when playing Kislev in our Cathay Kislev campaign. He got Boris, and then he just didn't get Boris. It was weird. Spells. Heavily worked how Vortex, Wind, Breath, and similar spells, blah blah blah, relates to damage reduction applied over distance. Damage reduction distance, which has been removed entirely in Warhammer 3. This results in drastically increasing damage potency across the board, which naturally required rebalancing of every spell in the game. Unfortunately, there is one spell that missed when implementing the new system, which was Pendulum and the Overcast. So they just heavily nerfed Pendulum, which is not a surprise, because I was fully expecting Pendulum to get nerfed. Guess what? Pendulum's not crazy powerful anymore. Whoa, don't care. Improve how infantry react to orders to turn to face enemies. Their behavior should now match the responsiveness of infantry units in Total Warhammer 2. This should have been done way earlier. This shouldn't even been a problem. Fix an issue which caused ranged units to fire slower when docked on siege walls or similar structures. Okay. Fix an issue that would cause ranged units to reset their animations without having fired. Is that the problem? Was this the problem? Why ranged units were so shit? Because this is shit. Honestly, this is shit. You need... Honestly, ranged units, I don't care for this. You already said that you fixed the dock and siege wall thing. I don't give a care. Ranged units were actually fine on walls, on actual walls that were in Total Warhammer 2. These new dockable areas are shit. And you apparently maybe fixed it. Fix the issue which would cause ranged units to reset their animations without firing. This better fixed where I give an attack order to my ranged units and it takes them fucking 5 years to freaking actually fire because they're moving around and they move backwards. They do a little dance, not making a little love, and they die because they didn't fire when they could fire 3 salvos if I just left them or just moved them, just ordered them to change positions and then just left them. Lock control groups will no longer enter Guardmore when receiving an attack order. Okay, I don't think that's a problem. My problem is I tell ranged units to fire, and then once they're done firing, they fucking move forward if they're in guard mode. If they're in guard mode, they will run forward. Guard mode is supposed to tell them to stay put into a Warhammer 2. In this one, if they run out of ammo, they will run towards the enemy to try to attack them. Fix that. That's no. I don't agree with that being a change. There's still a handful of issues, which they're going to be doing in future updates, include responsiveness of airborne units transitioning to ground, how units disengage from combat, and knockdown behavior. Knockdown behavior should have been fixed this update. this update. Because guess what? You said you were going to fix ogres. Ogres are not changed. Ogres will run through and unit lines. Me having Celestial Dragon Guard or Jade Warriors or regular infantry spearmen does not change the fact that all cavalry can run through all of them the same way. Fix this. Fix your fucking unit masses. It's a problem. And this is why ogres are really strong right now, because they can go through an infantry line and hit the back line with no problem. Cavalry can pierce. Thing is, you have more problems with your infantry than just these. You have infantry that are literally hitting a full line of units and then wrapping around them and hitting their backs, or wrapping around them and then going to a fucking other unit. You're having infantry units where one unit is across the fucking map and the rest of the, like, half the units across the fucking map and the other half is across the other fucking half of the map hitting my units. You have where a single lord, or if I'm playing as a player, my friend did this, where he had 5 units or 6 units of fucking armored corsairs trying to push 3 of them past a lord, but they were all stuck in melee combat for the entire time facing against that lord, and they couldn't get out. Why? Because one of their units was in combat with them. One of the units were touching him, or got touched by him. And they were in a big old mob, and there's units everywhere. We'll probably see it today. Like, that is a fix that needs to be fixed. Where units are spreading out. The AI units are really spreading out to the thinnest line. And being able to touch everything. Being touched by range units who are good distance behind because they decide they can run through. I don't agree that these are your only problems. And that you fixed most of these. You have bigger problems. Yeah, are these massive changes and probably intended from Warhammer 2 to Warhammer 3 to make battles more realistic or whatever? Probably. I don't agree with the changes because it doesn't make it fun, because it's just like, cool, melee line doesn't matter. Cool, heroes don't matter, because now, in this version, heroes and lords just get ignored half the time. And it's literally like 50-50 whether or not they will be paid attention to or ignored. But they will be probably paid attention to by ranged units, and sometimes they're not. For some reason. I don't understand why. General fixes. The range reflection attribute will now require units to be braced against charging attacker in order to take effect, instead of you charging towards them. Okay, cool, don't care. Fix an issue where defending units would use attackers' mass rather than their own mass for impact damage calculations. What do you mean? Because if this was an issue, okay, this is what this says. Fix an issue where defending units would use attacker mass rather than their own mass for impact damage calculations. Meaning that that the defender will use their own mass. So say ogres is 120 coming at me. If the ogre's mass is 120, that means my defending units would be using 120 mass while the attacker hits me, meaning my units wouldn't be flung. No, my units are being flung. There is a video, I think it was Zoshevich, that showed it, that it didn't matter what cavalry unit it was, it made Celestial Dragon Guard fly around. And honestly, how did this happen? I honestly don't understand how this happened. because you should be calling the same function as you did in Total Warhammer 2, all honesty, because you should be building on top of Total Warhammer 2, which means you either rewrote the code from scratch, which, let me just say, that's a big problem if that's the case, or you did something. And honestly, I'm sitting here being like, okay, well, this damage count, like, what does this actually mean? Does this mean the damage given to my units? Or does this mean the flinging of my units flying across the screen? Because right now, if I used the same mass as the attackers, I would not be flying across the screen. I would be standing my ground, because we would have the same mass. But this is telling me that there's something else wrong. They don't even realize what is wrong. Unless their calculations, if they're both equal mass, that they'll still fling people, that's insanity. Unless somehow Jade Warriors like, again, Ogres are 120, but Jade Warriors are like 150 mass. It's like, that doesn't sound right. Are you telling me that my units are going to be thrown around more? Meaning melee lines are completely useless because they'll just run through them? CA, expand on this. Tell us more. Fix an issue where attacker reinforcements would enter within the defender's city. That would be a crazy time. Holy shit. That is a problem. Army reinforcements should now correctly enter the battlefield according to their position on the campaign map relative to the battle. Okay, thank you. In domination and survival battles, summon units no longer offer a refund after being teleported away from the battlefield. I don't know what that freaking means. Maybe people were summoning stuff and then teleporting them away. I don't know. Factions. General fixes. Exalted Lords of Change Lords now have access to greater arcane conduit ability in their skill tree as intended. As intended? If it's as intended, it would have been already done. It would not be in this patch. You're lying. That's not as intended. You lied about that. You guys are like, oh shit, that didn't happen. Because you just used the normal skill tree. CA, that is not as intended. You are lying. Iron Blasters. They envisioned this unit to be more of a mobile shotgun platform than sniper artillery. For example, flanking allowed to shoot down the length of infantry units. The below changes projectile spread to 7 to 3, reduce the damage dealt. Okay. Oh, that's projectile spread. Never mind. That's not number of projectiles. I was gonna say you're already reducing it more. AP damage by, I guess. I don't really care. Whatever. Gorgers quickly smash light and medium infantry, though we expect them to be vulnerable to range fire. Beaten by anti-large units and trade moderately with anti-large heavy infantry, reducing the AP damage and entity count should help to reach this balance. Okay, let me just say this. This is the problem I would have with this, with the projectile spread. If you reduce the projectile amount from 7 to 3, you are then effectively halving. Not even halving, isn't like 60% of the damage is gone? Because if you do 60% of the damage is gone and then lower the damage values even more, you're literally nerfing the damage so much, making these Iron Blasters useless if it was, let me just say again, projectile amount, not spread. It's spread, it's not that much big of a deal, it's just a little bit of change. Changing the NTs from 16 to 12 and then reducing their AP damage even more is making this unit even weaker. This is why I say you should not play around with damage numbers too much. Mostly if you're going to change the entity count and a bunch of other things, like projectile amounts, like changing stuff that on how things dish out damage, you should only do in small increments, changing one thing at a time. Here is fine. You're changing the base damage and the AP damage, which is fine. It's completely fine because it's still 375 instead of 420. Yeah, it's 420. Instead of it being 420, it's now 375. So you effectively reduced it by 45. The damage by 45. Which is fine. It's fine. That's only reduction of 45 damage. That is technically together. I would consider these together because they are effectively the same thing. This though, you're not only lowering it by 4 units. You're lowering it even more. You're not lowering the AP damage by 20. You're effectively reducing it by technically 70 of 4 units. And also 20 of the other units all added together. You're reducing their damage even more drastically if you play around with unit numbers. This would have been more if it was projectile amount. General fixes: Fire Belly heroes will now receive their spells in battle. Cool, they get fireballs. Whoopie-doo. Doesn't deal that much damage. It's not gonna be that. It's gonna be fine for players, but whatever. I don't feel like ogres needed help on settlement defenses. Multiplayer doesn't care about. Grand Cafe. They changed some things. Harmony now has increased range. Thank you. This is gonna be nice because guess what? Range is kind of fucking shit and hurts you. Because hey, my melee units have to be so fucking close to my range units that the spread I was talking about with enemy infantry hitting your units and then going across to your range units easily could have been done. They're like 5 feet from each other. It was ridiculous. I guess that's good. Sky Junk. Ammunition increased from 15 to 20. Cool. Cooldown reduced from 60 to 30 seconds. Cool. I mean, you just made the Sky Junk better. Honestly, I'm thinking about maybe doing Sky Junk stack with this change because guess what? They freaking still have unlimited ammo with the freaking crane guns on them. Sky Lantern shots now apply shield breaker effect. And their speed increased from 30 to 35. Doesn't change anything. Sky Lanterns are still shit. Still shit. General fixes: Stone Gaze skill. Now increase armor instead of leadership for Terracotta Sentinels and Wujing Compass units. Alright. So. I mean, they didn't need. You literally. I mean, yeah, they get a little bit more defense, but how much? Is it 10? Is it 20? Is it 30? Is it 50? If it's 50, that's actually pretty good. If it's 10, whoopie-doo. Who gives a shit? That's 5 damage reduction possibility. Leadership, they probably didn't even need. Multiplayer only, doesn't matter. Siege barriers. Increase recharge delay resorting to barriers from 15 to 30 seconds. Hey, guess what? You could have done that earlier. Yes, Zinch was too strong. But now they're kind of fixes to Winds of Magic the ability of endlessly cast cheap spells such as Blue Zinch Flame. Drastically reduced but not completely fixed. To correct this, we are reducing the values of Arcane Surge Army. Cool. Arcane Surge didn't even fucking work. Probably still doesn't work. Reduce the Winds of Magic reserves generated per second from 0.3 to 0.15. I don't care. Arcane Surge doesn't work. Unless you have in here saying you made Arcane Surge work, which is the army ability. Does not work still. I'm pretty sure it still does not work because it didn't work. This part where generated reserves per second does not work. Fuck off. Lower the armor reduction debuff from 5 to 10. Weakness to fire debuff by 1%. Ugh. For Warflame, whoopie-doo, doesn't change anything. That's not damage difference. The damage is still going to be the same. This is stupid because you guys are literally trying to make it so that you don't have unlimited wins magic, especially with Tzeentch. Guess what? Tzeentch was the easiest with, but you made every other faction that could do it weaker. For Sanctum of Tzeentch, since they already have barrier, we've decided to remove spell resistance. Enjoy the first Sanctum of Tzeentch. Oh wow. Oh wow. You think the barrier was too strong and then you were taking away their magic resistance? Magic resistance doesn't even fucking matter, really. Honestly, this didn't matter. Because I didn't even focus first Sanctum of Tzeentch with my magic. If you focus first Sanctum of Tzeentch with your magic, you're doing something wrong. What you had to do was blue horrors or other things in the army. First Sanctum of Tzeentch were the weakest part of Tzeentch's roster. For an AI, you facing the AI, literally you should not have cared about the first Sanctum of Tzeentch. Except for with your range units to shoot them. Exalted Flamers of Tzeentch. Woo-be-doo. From the... Differentiate the Exalted Flamer from the base one. Increase the base ammunition from 10 to 15. And range from 90 to 150. So you made it so much better. Oh no. Exalted Flamers of Tzeentch are gonna be so much better. They're gonna be so strong. Multiplayer don't care. Kislev. Unit acceleration does not matter. It literally does not matter. Reduce light war sleds armor, that does not matter. Increase elemental bears melee defense from 20 to 30, still does not change. That's still low. That's still pretty fucking low for melee defense. Low Grom units increase range damage and AP damage. Okay, you increased it by what, 15 and 20, so 35. Okay, low Grom's a little better. 35 more damage, still probably gonna one-shot a lot of people, but whatever. Probably could deal more damage to single entities. Just a bit. Kislev multiplayer does not matter. Nurgle. Nurgle. Feedback from the community highlighted that Nurgle units are too slow, making them vulnerable to larger armies with range firepower. To account for this, we improved mobility options of several units along with additional tweaks. Okay, I will say this. Drones need to be like 60 speed. If they're not 60 speed, then you fucked up still. Exalted Plague Bearers of Nurgle. Increase ammunition count from 2 to 3. Okay, does not matter. Increase speed from 23 to 27. Still, that's barely anything. Like, you increase the speed by 4. Most infantry units are like 30 speed. They still will outrun. He's still slow as fuck. Plague drones of Nurgle. Death's Head. Ammunition count from 7 to 10. Yep, no speed changes to Plague Bearer drones. I wonder why. Plague drones should have been way faster. They're fucking bugs, for God's sake. Kugoth. Wait. Also seeing relatively little use, Silver boosts and infused stats to help him live up to his legendary status. Increases ammunition count. That doesn't matter. We don't care about his ammunition count. He's still shit. Ammunition count, like, yeah, it makes him have more ammo, but by the time he gets into range to use that ammo, most of his army is dead to enemy's artillery. Or the fucking healing rate of Nurgle infestation ability of fucking 1% to 0.2%, or 1.1% to 0.2%, or blah 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 blah, 0.1 to 0.2, whatever, health per second for Nurglings. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. These are nothing. These are nothing. I'll tell you what will make Kugath stronger. Give him more reduction on spell cost. Instantly, Kugath would be wanted in the army. instead of being a Mortis engine slash nerdling booster. Ammunition count does not matter. I think most battles I fought were like, I still like had 10 rounds in the chamber ammunition. By the time he got into melee, I didn't even fucking use 10 rounds. You know what would be awesome, actually? Don't give him ammunition count increase. Make it so that his ammunition does not hurt allies. Wow, that makes a big deal. That will make me be like, oh, I want Kugath. I want Kugath. I want to use Kugath. Let him fire free range. I don't care. Missile close range, go. Miracle multiplayer does not matter. In update 1.1, we are fixing several issues with charge bracing and impact damage. We feel it's too risky to touch the mesh units without a good understand what these effects will have. And guess what? Honestly, these changes that you're talking about, charges, bracing, and impact damage, are nothing. You literally changed nothing in that, other than, you've changed nothing, actually. Only changes you've done are, what was it, general fixes? Was it in general fixes? They changed where... what they did was change it so that... I don't know where it is. Basically, the two changes that they did were change it so that charge reflect, you have to be bracing. And the second thing is, hey, guess what? Units now will use their own mass instead of the charging unit's mass. Meaning, cool, don't care. That's not big changes. Those aren't massive changes. The only massive change is probably changing which units use which in the calculation for charging, which means just the damage output. As far as I'm concerned, there's no big changes then. Because the unit mass, you just change the unit mass, which the calculation for unit mass of the damage and of the impact damage, and then that's it. I don't see fixing several issues with charger bracing and impact damage. There has not been that many changes you have mentioned. There's been none. So you saying this for Sinesh means nothing. You have not changed nearly as much as you're saying you are. You have not changed issues with charging. There's no issue with charging. You change one thing of bracing, and you change one thing of impact damage. That is it. Nothing else has changed. Nothing at all. So, several issues? Yeah, fucking right. Let's just jump over to corn. We are currently happy with the state of corn. Wow, not a surprise. And one small change has been added with this update now. Dogfighting now applies Strider to flesh hounds while increasing their charge bonus. Whoopie-doo, don't care. And then there's multiplayer changes. I wonder... Oh, multiplayer stuff, and that is it. They talk about known issue of a soft lock, which they're not. They're still gonna work on. So, and then that's it. I have to say, literally, Daemon of Chaos, good changes. Good changes. Makes sense. Realm of Chaos, these should have been installed mostly earlier, except for the protection chain and what was it? I think that was it. Oh, and Upon intercepting an AI faction. Like, these two make sense, they're in this update. The rest of this does not make sense. I'm just going all the way up. Let's just go real quick through where I think things should have been in earlier ones or not, and I've said them amongst it. Supply lines should have been in earlier. This makes sense. First point, the technologies make sense. Supply lines should have been in earlier. Docked and dockable areas sort of make sense. Handing off control makes sense, but should have probably been in an earlier patch. Heroes gaining skill points should have been definitely in the earlier patch. That doesn't make any sense. Was here, and also is a non-consequence one. Like, this is actually non-consequence. That could have even been later. Literally no one gives a shit that you don't get skill points 250 with heroes. Yeah. Settlement makes sense. Bug with Ogre Camps, healing, replenishing makes sense. The obstructions need to be more fixed. Like, that needs to be addressed to all fucking settlements. Like, all settlements need better tower locations. Vanguard makes sense. Winds of Magic. This Infinite Winds of Magic thing could have been way later. Expected it to be coming, but freaking is dumb that they are trying to nerf fun, in a sense. Or nerfing fun. On resolve, I expect that. That makes sense for keeping things same old. Fixes, blah blah blah. If I don't mention something specifically that it shouldn't have been here, then it's fine. Prologue stuff, that makes sense. Reduce the effects of negative traits should have been way earlier. Daemon Lords no longer affected by negative traits of their realms should have been way earlier. Should have been on launch. Remove, that's sort of fine, but also should have been earlier. The 15 soul thing is fine being here. Protection is fine being here. This special benefit literally does not matter. All these changes literally don't matter. They don't matter. They could have been earlier. They could be earlier, they could be later. Literally no one's gonna notice the fucking difference. This point right here, players no longer replaced, was only a thing for people who needed to change, needed to deal with the AIs keep on coming back, which is no longer a thing, so it doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. Bellacore stuff, everything for Bellacore does not matter. It's not, still doesn't make Bellacore good. Or wanting to have him. Or make him special enough to play him. After you beat the game. Daemons of Chaos have a massive tune, which I would say is really good. I would say these are all very good. General fixes. That should not even been. The rifts reopening in the world after you complete the campaign should have just never happened. Never happened. That should have not been able to happen. That should have been from release. Fix the issue with Boris. That is fine, but should have probably maybe been earlier. Spells, Pendulum, that's fine. Don't understand why they have to make a big distinction. It's only one fucking spell. Unit responsiveness. Honestly, I would say I'm fine with it being here, but it should have never happened. Never happened. Because Total Warhammer 2, it wasn't a problem until, like, all these problems crop up after Total Warhammer 3 came out, which shouldn't have happened because you'd be using Total Warhammer 2's code, mostly. General fixes. Here's charge reflection. Needs to be bracing. The unit mass, which again, these are the only 2 changes to freaking charging. Freaking doesn't matter. That matters. That attackers being entering the defender within the defender city, that's a thing that should have been changed. I'm fine with that being there. Army reinforcements correctly according to the position on the campaign map. That would be nice. That's thank you. Exalted Wars of Change should have had that from the get-go. Iron Blasters, fine. Gorgers are fine. Unit changes are pretty much freaking fine. I don't care. It's fine. They should have realized Harmony should have been bigger. There's unit changes don't matter, actually. Arcane Surge, I don't agree with, because Arcane Surge doesn't even work properly. Barrier delays, whatever. Like, unit changes are like, whatever. Don't care. It could be in this, it could have been in the next one. Literally don't care. Sinesh is a complete lie. They barely changed anything. We literally just went over again. There's 2 changes to charging, bracing, and impact, and you're like, several issues. No, you lie. There's nothing changed, and then there's this multiplayer. And honestly, like, the thing with unit changes that is a big deal, and it goes back to infantry. There's still a handful of issues that they're looking to solve in future, including responsive of airborne, like this stuff. Like they say, like there's several stuff. How about having units being spread out across the entire map, and they're a single unit? Like legitimately, they're across the entire map. There's no rhyme or reason why. I don't know. That's all I have to say about this stuff. Like, I don't agree with some of these changes. Like, they're not necessarily needed. This was supposed to be a massive update. A massive update. Did they do massive update? Yeah, to Demons of Chaos, changing number values, but other than that, no, it doesn't feel like they changed nearly as much as they were portraying with how difficult they said this stuff is, and the stuff they give us aren't that difficult. Like changing melee attack of an item of Damon Prince from 25 to 50. Easy clap. Changing all these items and their numerical values. Easy clap. Removing stuff. It means removing a line of code. Easy clap. Like, there's not massive changes here for the Daemon of Chaos that makes it so drastically and incredibly out of this world that reckons like most of this stuff not being, like some of the stuff being changed is like a lot. They did change a lot, yes, but I say they didn't change nearly as much as they were implying they were going to change. And most of these changes could have been earlier. I mean, for God's sake, they focused on the freaking infinite winds of magic. Like, was that actually a problem? No. People like that. If you didn't like that, guess what? Just don't do it. It's super easy. And how do you not do it? By not having 5 lore casters in your army, so that you have so much arcane conduit that you get 1 wins magic per second, and then you do that. You can do it with fucking not having that many wizards. And probably if you did not want to do it, you probably didn't have 5 wizards in your freaking army. Like, honestly, like, anyone who was complaining about this is dumb. And this being a major change that needed to happen, no, a lot of players. The thing is right now CA is in a bad position. where a lot of people drop the game. Don't remove stuff that players like, that make it fun for the player. Don't do that. This issue where, with the all resulting, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's a 1 in a million thing that most people won't understand. But this infinite winds of magic, that is a staple thing of like people like that, because people have a problem with your winds of magic system, your new winds of magic system. Because of how you changed it. And honestly, I just say right now you want to make players come back and play your game. Make it fun. Keep the bugs that are fun. Change it later. Unless you will tell us in the next patch, hey guys, we understand like the Winds of Magic is actually not that fun for most of you guys, so we're going to increase the we're talking about what changes we could do to make it better. How can we make it better? Maybe bringing back knowledgeable, maybe bringing back making it so that it's maybe 200 max, maybe changing up how the Winds of Magic change in areas, maybe making it more, realizing how it is better. Like, just talk to us a little bit more about Winds of Magic. Definitely please change it. Like, I'm fine with it now, or maybe changing how much spells cost, because spells are kind of expensive, and keep how much spells cost for multiplayer. That's fine. I don't care. Literally Winds of Magic. Please don't make it annoying for us. Anyways, this has been me, Kelsey Drake. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.